What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react to some recent news about the Canada United States Mexico trade agreement, also known as CUSMA, which covers like 2.5 trillion dollars of trade annually between our countries. And funny enough, this trade deal was originally negotiated by Donald Trump in his first term, where at the time he like referred to it as one of the most fair and balanced and successful trade deals that he's ever been a part of, that he's ever done. He was very proud of this deal. Well, now this deal is coming up for renewal, and the United States has officially said no. So today, I really want to take a look at this video here, where a US government representative is explaining exactly how we came to this decision. Because I know this is very disappointing for a lot of people, although perhaps the writing was kind of on the wall in a sense, if you've been keeping up with how fractured the trade relationship has been between the US and Canada. So let's take a look and try to understand exactly what's going on here, exactly what the US is thinking here.
The U.S. won't rubber stamp the North American Free Trade Agreement, widely seen as a historic success.
We're not
Yeah.
renewing as it is right now.
Why? Well, America's top trade official is pointing in part to Canada's warming relationship with China.
No way. That's what he said. No way. Do not tell me that has something to do with this. I know, like, I've heard that Trump and the US government are like very triggered that Canada is doing anything with China. And so the fact that you gotta be kidding me. So the US trade rep said that Canada's relationship with China is I'm starting to sound like Trump when I say China, China. It's starting to infect my brain. uh, he's saying that Canada's trade relationship with China had something to do with this decision, as if the United States doesn't have literally, if not the biggest, trade relationship with China. Does this not make us the biggest hypocrites on the planet? Oh, we're allowed to have a relationship with China. That's for us, that's not for you. You guys don't get to do that. Like we depend on China for so many of our businesses, for electronics, computer chips, a lot of computer stuff, clothing, like rare earth minerals, resources, so many things the United States depends on China for. As a matter of fact, we import way more from China than we export. Like we have a huge, to use Trump's favorite term, we have a massive trade deficit with China. And we have the audacity to get mad that Canada wants a relationship with China. It's it's unbelievable. I mean, let's be honest. Is given everything that has happened in the US and a lot of the decision making that's been going on here for a while now, maybe this isn't so unbelievable. That's the sad thing. You know what? That's the sad thing. I actually do believe that this is our rationale. Actually, that makes sense for us.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer spoke to Global News the day after the United States decided not to extend CUSMA.
What I don't want is a situation where Canada's bringing in a lot of Chinese investment in Chinese cars and sending them into America. Like, that is actually totally at odds with what we're trying to do here.
To
What? This is the most. It just feels like a made up problem. I don't know, it's hard to tell these days because the US government is not transparent, and what it does say, especially Trump, he often doesn't mean, or it's just wrong, or a lie, or made up, or so you. It's a very frustrating time as an American, and I'm sure as anybody around the world that has to do any kind of business with us. It's a very frustrating, very uncertain time because it's just like you don't know what to believe or what we're so officially this is the U.S. trade rep, Jamieson Greer. So officially, we're upset that Canada might import some stuff from China, which might get imported to the United States. Am I getting this right? That's why we're canceling the $2.5 trillion trade deal? That's been a like critically overwhelming success for years and sorted out tons of trade agreements between our countries, has expanded the trade capacity of North America. Just to be clear, that's what we're going with. That's why we're not doing this.
Kuzma.
What I don't want is a situation where Canada's bringing in a lot of Chinese investment in Chinese cars and sending them into America. Like that.
That's what okay. Just making sure. That's what we're going with. What? Jeez. Investment? You're not even allowed to have Chinese investment, by the way. Let alone nice cars. No. Bad. Canada. That's not for you. That's for us.
Is actually totally at odds with what we're trying to do here.
To reduce reliance on the U.S., Ottawa has grown closer to Beijing, including a deal to bring in Chinese EVs.
That's another point. A good point. Any relationship that's currently growing between China and Canada, or frankly, Canada and any country, that we're so upset by, that is entirely self-inflicted. At this point, honestly, it's probably just like good for Canada, regardless of what the US is doing. Like, that you're expanding your horizons, doing all these deals with all these different countries like Australia and like South Korea or Sweden, China, like, so a lot of different countries. And I think at first that was somewhat of a response to trying to lower Canada's reliance on the United States, which is our fault for very much incentivizing you to do that. So, isn't that just like perfect? How we're so upset at this whole situation that we have created, that we have done to ourselves. Yeah.
Prime Minister Mark Carney was caught on Hot Mic last month, trying to reassure U.S. President Donald Trump about the agreement. That rapprochement appears to be a sticking point.
Right. I forgot about that. That's right. I saw this in a different video. Mark Carney at the G7 summit in France went over to Trump, who was sitting all by himself. Trump would want you to believe, like, oh, I'm very busy, like, lots of people to talk to. Everybody wants to talk to me. He's, like, sitting by himself. It's, like, no effort at all for Mark Carney to go over and talk to him, which is kind of funny to me. But anyway, he goes over and tries to explain to Trump, because he knows this China thing is such a point of contention, even though it shouldn't be, for many reasons. Carney goes over and is like, all right, listen, Trump, we're not even doing that much trade with China, in an attempt to make Trump feel better about this situation. I don't even feel like Canada owes the US that, frankly. I mean, from a strategic political point of view, this is probably a smart thing to do. Any way that you think you can manipulate like Donald Trump or to get the outcome you want, whatever you gotta say, you gotta say. I get that. But honestly, like Canada doesn't owe the US like an explanation of like, oh, this is why we're doing the trade with China. We're only doing this much. It's like, I get what the strategy is, but I don't even feel like you're allowed to do trade with China. You're allowed like the God knows the United States isn't reporting to Canada about what we do with China, you know? So it's like you shouldn't have to.
along with Canada's dairy supply management system and a previous attempt to get U.S. streamers to pay more for Canadian content.
Right, right. Some of this stuff has come up in the last couple months. It's a bit convoluted and random to me. I'm not a trade expert, but it's like the US is mad because of the Canadian dairy? First, I mean, that must be some really good stuff. Like your milk must be really freaking good. If we're like not renewing the trade agreement over the milk or the dairy, maybe it's cheese. I don't know. Could be good. And like this streaming thing.
Something Canada backed down on.
Obviously, that's good. It's good not to do something you shouldn't have done to begin with.
Man, if I'm this frustrated, I can only imagine like what Canadians are going through. Like this is my government, and they're tilting me, like making me mad. Just the audacity to make a statement like that. The audacity.
Down on.
Obviously, that's good. It's good not to do something you shouldn't have done to begin.
It's good not to do something you shouldn't have done from the beginning. That applies to so many things that Donald Trump and his administration have done in the name of the United States of America. We should listen. We should listen to our own advice here about that.
With.
Canada and Mexico had wanted CUSMA renewed, which covers roughly $2.5 trillion in trade annually.
CUSMA is in place. And
Right.
the government has been at it, working with the negotiating.
The move
Right. So the deal is still in place for years. It's just now going to be years of uncertainty about the future, which is bad, especially for the people directly affected by the industries that are kind of controlled by these trade policies. It's interesting how Canada and Mexico were ready to sign, and so it's just the United States that's holding out for something. Like, I actually would like to see a list of like concrete demands. If we're going to take it this far and not renew this very important deal, we need to be professional about it and, like, perhaps submit some kind of document or something about, like, okay, these are the reasons why. Don't put up a random interview on the tarmac of an airport for 30 seconds with the trade rep where he's like, why didn't we renew that? Well, everyone's real mean to us. And, China. All right. It's a day's work for me. I gotta go. Like, that's the explanation? And we're the ones holding out here. So we have to do a better job explaining what terms we're looking for. And it's a negotiation. Like, I understand, like, the United States, hopefully we want a good deal for ourselves. I don't blame us for wanting a good deal. I don't blame anybody for advocating for themselves and wanting the best deal for themselves. That's how the world works. But it's like, it just feels like there's a total lack of transparency and communication. Like, what do we want the deal to look like?
triggers rolling reviews and a 10-year clock on its expiration.
I think what we can expect is a continuation, maybe even an intensification of demands for concessions from the U.S. on a wide range of things.
Tariff-free access remains for
Again, very vague. Concessions on what? It's also funny that this trade agreement had stuff about like tariff-free trade. which apparently we did not honor at all, so that didn't matter.
Most Canadian exports. But the tactics are shaking one of the last predictable pillars of trade.
Yeah,
Taria Isri, Global News, Montreal.
it's a good way to put it. Seriously, this is a big deal. Trade is already extremely shaky. Just the trade relationship is shaky between Canada and the US. If you've been paying attention to a lot of things going on, which basically started when Donald Trump took office for the second term. And this deal not being renewed is just another enormous level of uncertainty in an already very uncertain time that we've created. So it's just, frankly, adding more chaos on the part of the US, and I don't like it. I would be more okay with this if we were very clear about what we want the trade deal to look like, if we are holding out for something instead of these vague talking points. So this was good and somewhat informative, but also kind of frustrating to listen to, because it's like, what what is the future of this going to look like? As an American, I don't even know, and we're the ones doing it. So yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts, especially if you're Canadian, your perspective on this whole trade debacle. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.